I used to be a part of this really toxic friend group, and I can't even begin to count the amount of times I heard one of them utter the phrase, "You're allowed to like a bad movie." This is genuinely one of my least favorite utterances on planet Earth, right up there with someone confronting you with the question, "What did you do?" when you do something wrong. Like, what the hell does that even mean? Why are you asking me what I did when you already know what I did? Just punish me and move on. The basic belief of film objectivity is that you're reviewing a movie without preconceived biases or personal feelings. An example of not being objective is liking a film for being so bad that it's good, or any guilty pleasure for that matter. If you were to be objective with that film based on your own merits and judge the movie on how it truly functions, the movie would probably be really terrible, but you don't care because it's still fun to watch. I just really hate how people use objective criticism as a form of factual reasoning, like when people say, "A movie is objectively bad." If they mean it's bad based on their own standards of criticism and their own standards only, that's completely fine and I respect that immensely. But when people use that statement to say, the only way you can look at this movie objectively is by saying it's bad, is kind of crazy to me. The biggest issue with objectivity is that even if you're objective, your view is still an opinion. Whether you're putting your biases aside or not, your take is still based on your views and how you interpreted them. It's not a fact to say it's good or bad, and no amount of objectivity can change that. It's only ever going to be your opinion, whether it's subjective or objective. I also feel like as objective as you're gonna be, you're still gonna have biases, no matter how much you refuse to admit it. Think of it as sand in a backpack after you went to the beach. It doesn't matter how much you try to shake those little biases out of the bag, the sand is never coming out, just like your biases and viewpoints. Every human has been raised differently to have different perspectives on the same topic, and it's only natural that we're going to have our own standards formed from different perspectives. Two completely different people may look at a movie like the Spider-Verse films and be able to have two polar opposite viewpoints on the same aspect of that story. Someone may say that it would make sense for the Spot, for example, to leave the story halfway through because there is no longer a need for him to be in the film. But someone else may argue that it's distracting that he's essentially forgotten about, and there could have been some way to revisit him in the story. Neither of these criticisms are correct or incorrect. These are both objective standpoints, and while I'm sure they could be influenced by subjective reasoning, perhaps if you liked the Spot, you'd be more bothered to see him leave the story so abruptly. But there is a way to have those viewpoints in an objective manner. We're all going to have different tastes and perspectives, and it's impossible for an aspect of a film to have a right or wrong viewpoint. That is, unless you state an opinion that is very clearly contradicted by the film you're reviewing.
Well, Admiral Akbar and Mon Mothma don't really lecture him, but he's got
Admiral Akbar?
That's not Admiral Akbar,
Oh,
babe.
fuck.
Put some respect on my man's name. Thank you.
And there's also the case if a viewpoint is rooted in bigotry, but you know what? We're not going to talk about that one.
Those are the only two good white people.
The Ku Klux Klan!
If someone watched The Empire Strikes Back and said that Han Solo was used horribly, I'd be inclined to disagree heavily, but they would absolutely have a reason to share their perspective. If someone didn't care for Han Solo, it's a completely reasonable opinion to have. I can press them for an explanation and listen to their opinion, but that perspective is something I'm just gonna have to respect. I really hate it when people act as if having a different perspective is something that needs to be changed if it's too drastically different from you. I have plenty of friends who think Ahsoka is awful, and while I find their reasoning for it completely unagreeable, I still understand and empathize with it, regardless of if I share that take or not. I can say that the Ahsoka show is a masterpiece and not be wrong to have that claim, nor would someone be wrong to say it's a travesty. If you can't agree with the mindset that two polar opposite standpoints are okay to have and can't be respective, I kinda pity you. The world doesn't revolve around you, and your opinion is not the end-all be-all. No one is wrong to call a movie bad, and no one is wrong to think a movie is good. You are, however, very wrong to think that one of those people is wrong and is supposed to have the opposite viewpoint. It's kind of embarrassing that something so simple needs to be said. Just because you found something nice that I didn't find good does not mean you're invalid. It's a crazy belief. I remember a while back I saw this breakdown where someone used food as a metaphor for film criticism and said, "You're allowed to hate carrot, but that doesn't mean it's bad from a nutritional standpoint." As if to say, you're allowed to dislike a movie, but you can't call it bad because it isn't. First of all, I wouldn't want anyone to like a food solely because I like it. If you think carrots are bad, nothing should stop you. Avoid it like the plague. Just please make sure you work out and find moderation in your health, because I do want you to have nutrition, but that's neither here nor there.
I will kill you!
And even then, food is not like film. The latter is an art form we can judge based on our perspectives and the expression of the creators. Food is something we can measure based on whether it's safe to consume. There's a factual standpoint to it. I can point to anything off the McDonald's menu and say, yes, this thing is bad for you, don't eat it. I can't do that with movies because movies are an art form. No one is being hurt by saying something is good. It's what makes media so beautiful. No one's views are the same, nor should they be. If we all had the same correct opinions, life would be so boring. There's no correct way to criticize a form of media. Although, if you know someone who hates Andor, cut them out of your life!